Welcome back to my backyard. Thanks for stopping by the channel. It's a pleasure to have you. Today I'm going to go through my kayaks so that you guys can see all of the things that I have built for my kayak. Yeah, there's a certain level of psychosis that goes along with this. In my review video, you heard me say that I was going to be doing a lot of modifications. Well, today you'll get to see just how deep that psychosis goes. So stick with me. Enjoy. We're going to go through the kayak in full detail. Okay, let's start at the very back here. I sewed my own flag to make sure that nobody runs into the back of my vehicle. I swapped out the cables or cord that came with the original rudder. I'm using a plastic coated stainless steel cable. It's just a lot more durable, and the connectors that came with the kayak hold on to the stainless steel cable a whole lot better. One of the things that Perception did is they put a handle on the only on one side of the back of the kayak, and the way that the handle is mounted on the front and in the back, I think that the idea is that two people could hold it and carry it, portage it from one leg to the next, what have you. But when you're trying to load this in your truck, it's a nightmare trying to hold on to one half of the kayak and keep it from flipping over while you're trying to push it in the truck. So first thing I did was I had a piece of plastic, don't even know what kind of plastic it is, just scrap I had laying around, and I built another handle, bolted that in. There's an aluminum plate underneath there that these are bolted into, that I was able to access it through the cutout that's in the back here. And so that's bolted down 1/4-20 stainless steel bolts. So super durable. Now when I pick the kayak up, I don't have to worry about it twisting. I can control it. Perfect for what I need. Just a standard crate in the back. I also hand paint lures. Probably sees that in my videos at some point as well. So that's the only real storage that this 10-foot kayak has is right there. To hold my my net, I created what looks like a rod holder, but it's just a piece of black PVC pipe that bolts into the track that I put in to hold up my outriggers. I also moved the rod holders off of the crate to the outside of the kayak, and there's a real good reason for that. I have a sun awning out. Yes, I know. I have a sun awning too that goes on here, and in order for that to fit and for the rods to fit on the outside of the sun awning, I had to add that. So that's why those are moved to the outside of the kayak. Also, I'll note that on the rod holders, I used I think it's a 3/4 inch or it's 1 inch OD outside dimensions on this plastic pipe. I believe it's for a sprinkler system. I use those because the rod holders that I have, 90% of the rods that I have fit in here, and they fit in here relatively tight, so I don't have to worry about them wobbling around a whole lot in there. Whereas most of the rod holders you see are actually, they use this large PVC pipe, and the rods just fly around in there. But the smaller pipe, they fit in tight, so that's why I did that. I like that much better. Safety flag. This was actually manufactured from an old landscaping umbrella, you know, those ones that you go put in your backyard to sit under to keep the sun off of you. Well, it had completely worn out and fell apart, so I robbed the aluminum that was in that off of there and actually made a flag holder out of it. I think that's all the stuff that I've done on the back side here. Oh, I added a couple of these guys on here to pad eyes to hold on my sun awning, and I'll show you the sun awning at the very end. We'll put that on. Let's move on to the center of the kayak. So did quite a few things here. One of the things I did, got this idea from Kayak Hacks, is my seat kept moving back and forth, and the strap kept loosening up. So I actually sewed it. Yes, I sewed it. an old pasty white dude knows how to sew. So yes, I did sew that. So that keeps my, you can see here, same thing. That keeps the seat from becoming unadjusted. Also, I do quite a bit of downrigger fishing. We're fishing for cutthroat trout in Lake Sammamish, so I created a downrigger. This is the downrigger made completely from scratch. And by the way, if there's any of this stuff that you want to see more details on, just make a comment down below. I'll be happy to do a video to show you how I built a lot of this stuff. I'm just trying to get through the kayak so you see all the things that I've done and why I've done them. For all my accessories, pretty much I have put them on what is a key back ring. So they're all spring loaded. So everything that I have in my kayak is attached to one of those. Pliers, actually melted up a piece of plastic as a holder for my pliers because they were jumping around and making a lot of noise. So I did that. Back to the downrigger. The downrigger ball, well, no matter what I did, seemed to be rolling around constantly. So I cut out a hole out of a piece of plastic, and that is foam taped in place. And so now when I drop the ball on there, it doesn't go anywhere. Put a bead on the end of your downrigger that keeps the clip from going up inside the downrigger. What else have I done here? Oh, I raised the steering handle. It was flush down here on the edge of the kayak, and I felt like I was bending over constantly trying to steer, and so I just raised it about, I don't know, it's about 6 inches. And then I also designed it so that my fingers would fit in there, and I had a directional point there to tell me which direction it was being steered at, just at a glance. That's one of the best things I did. That just makes things so much more comfortable. So that was done as well. We talked about the downrigger. Yes, okay. You'll notice that this is not a homemade unit. This is actually a commercial unit. I did make my own rod holder, and I was quite satisfied with it. I used it for a long time. It worked great. But I saw a review of one of these guys on YouTube, and I said, wow, that looks like it's even better than what I designed. So I went and I bought one and I tested it, and okay, I love them. I fell in love with these things. This is, as far as I'm concerned, this is a stealth rod holder, best rod holder on the market. You should just go buy these. Enough said on those. Also, in the center here, the way that this kayak comes, it comes with a giant hole here that the pedal drive folds up into, and if you don't cover that up, guaranteed the most expensive fishing lure you have would fall through there. So yeah, I decided that I needed to create a piece of plastic to hold that down in here. And then, because I like to have everything right at the ready, I put in a bungee cord that holds those guys in place, and when you pedal, they do miss that most of the time. That's actually you can hear my, oh, no, that's that. So it misses those, and they're right there, right in front of me all the time. I also created a sunshade for my fish finder. What I was finding is that when it rains, water would get on the screen. I was constantly having to wipe the screen off, and the sun oftentimes is so bright I couldn't see the screen. So melted up some plastic. I saw somebody had made one out of a plastic box. Just couldn't find a box that actually fit the unit the way I wanted, so I ended up melting that up and cutting it out on a bandsaw. Just so you know, on the back of that there is 2 holes that you can mount that with. Also, in order to be able to fold the unit up, you have to get the propeller absolutely vertical, and the difference between it fitting through there and not fitting through there is literally a 1/2 inch movement on this pedal. that thing's an 8-to-1, I think. And so, yeah, a very small motion here makes a huge change in the orientation of the propeller down below. So I created this little guy. There's this bolt that's a through bolt through this piece of aluminum here, and when you slide that down in there and it goes over that bolt, it holds us in the exact right position. And when I back the pedal into it, now I know that my propeller is exactly vertical in there, and I can flip the unit up. This is helpful when you're pulling into a boat ramp and you want to be able to not have to get your paddle out. You want to just get going in the right direction. I can now index this perfectly and flip the unit up without running aground. So that's what that guy is. This guy is I don't want to call it a rod holder. It's a temporary spot to place my rod. One of the things that I see all the time on fishing videos is guys laying their rods across their pedals. They're dangling them in their bow. They're doing all sorts of things trying to put their rod somewhere, so it's someplace that's out of the way. And I just found that if I did this, it basically the line would end up hanging right in front of me. So all the gearing that I need to do to the fishing line, it's right here in front of me. I don't have to go chasing it. It's always going to be dangling right here in front of me. So it works out perfect as a way of holding the rod as I'm changing out my gear and or dealing with a fish. So that's why that rod holder's there. Down here I have fluorocarbon leader. I do a lot of trolling, so I typically have some sort of leader that I'm putting on there, working with a lot of different sorts of line. And so rather than digging around in my crate and the back, I actually created this little guy. It's spring loaded so that it doesn't constantly unroll on me. It's got a piece of bungee on there to also keep the line from coming out. And then, of course, I can loosen it and adjust it, put it wherever I want. So that's what that guy there is for. Also, I plan on putting in a light switch underneath here. That's to come. The fish finder is wired down the back and into this box. I've got a lithium-ion battery in there. The original handle for steering, in case my cobbled together thing there breaks, I have this to put back in there. I can do that. A bunch of other spare hardware in there, extra pliers, that sort of thing in there. I also have a waterproof box that I keep my fishing license in. I keep my binoculars, anything else like my wallet, keys, that sort of stuff that I don't want to lose. That's all bungee corded in. Okay, now for the bow. This is going to sound silly, but I didn't want to drill any more holes in the. By the way, this is an excellent tool to get water out of your kayak. ShamWow. They suck up water really well, and you can wring them out and get water out of your kayak. It's really efficient. So I didn't want to drill any more holes in the kayak in the hull, especially up here in the bow, but I wanted some place to mount a camera. And yes, okay, I'm going to do some fishing videos. You guys are probably wondering, why is he always in his backyard? Well, I finally bought a camera that's semi-waterproof, and I will be doing some fishing videos, which is kind of ironic because I never catch anything. But you get to watch me paddle around on the water. That'll be fun, huh? Okay, so you can see that, yes, I am addicted to these things. I love this. So this is going to be my camera holder, and that way, if anything happens to my rod holder, I can steal my camera holder if I have to. For the camera holder itself, I had an old handle that was a painting handle, and I took a piece of PVC, and that now snaps in there and holds that in place. And now I can place this unit in a rod holder and hold it in place. So yeah, there you go. I now have a waterproof camera, so I will be doing some fishing videos. Okay, you may have noticed on this side of the kayak, I don't have anything really mounted in here. And what I started realizing is when I had stuff mounted on here, I didn't have any way to get back in the kayak if I fell out. And It's not if you fall out, it's when you fall out. So I basically cleared everything off of this side of the kayak aside from my leader retention system here. So I've got bungee cords, and then each one of the bungee cords has a leader attached to it that comes back here and wraps around a quarter 20 socket head bolt, and that comes back to the bungee cord. It holds my leaders in place. They don't get tangled up, easy to follow where things are, and that's how I have it set up to hold all my leaders and so forth. Also have a bag full of tools because, yeah, you know, I do things, repairs, even on the water. Okay, so one of the things that I mentioned in my review video is that I was going to come up with some way of increasing the height of the seat, and I have done that. I'm not particularly thrilled with the solution, but it's better than what I had. So I'll just go through and show you how that works. I added a piece of aluminum channel to my outrigger board here, and the back of the seat slides directly into that. So we'll just lift this up and show you that. You guys are going to see that I'm unloosening this bolt, and it's taking me 20 turns to get it out of there because I'm too lazy to cut it off, but I was complaining that Perception did that. But anyway, yeah, so there you go. Okay, there's a bungee that's in here that holds the seat down as well. Okay, and I have a little knob here that I rotate that holds it in the back so it can't come out. And then this part here rotates around, swings up, and then that part screws into the base. Actually, I think I had it in the next one up. Yes, I did. Okay, so then that one will screw into the base, and now my seat has been raised about 4 to 6 inches. So I'm not gonna put that in. I want you guys to be able to see how that works. Basically what I did is I had to cut PVC. There's no way to get this seat broken apart without breaking it. So I didn't want to have to try to weld it back together or cobble something back together on this. So I left the seat whole. But what I did was I cut a slot out of a piece of PVC pipe, and I just slipped that over the pipe, and then I did the same with the connectors and slid those over and rotated them 90 degrees, or 180 degrees, so that they held everything in place. So it appears to be continuous around there. It doesn't come off anymore, but it's okay. It's pretty hideous looking. So, but it works. It gets me up off the water, and I use that in summertime when I'm not as worried about rolling the kayak. Okay, so this is the Sunshade slash rain slicker that I made for the kayak. It is made from the same pieces of aluminum that old umbrella. I tore it apart and reused it to make this. And let's just show you how it goes here. And you know, the reason why I made this is because last summer I was out and it was just completely excruciatingly hot and painful to be out on the water. And so I felt that it'd be a nice thing to have. Well, the other thing that happens here in the Seattle area is it rains a lot. And while it's raining, it's not necessarily windy, so I don't have to worry about it storming. And the way this thing goes on is I have some aluminum extrusion here, and they just simply slide down into that aluminum extrusion. And now my head is completely covered from any sort of rain scenarios. Even most of my legs are covered. I spent 6 hours out on the water when it was raining, and my hat never got wet. So hey, that's a plus. So let's show you how it plugs into the back here. So on the back, I have an arrow that holds it. As you guys know that I'm into archery, so I have that arrow that holds it stiff across the back, and then it just bungee ties into these pad eyes, and that keeps all of my gear in the back dry as well. Of course, if the scupper plugs aren't in or are in, and it fills up with water. But yeah, so that's the awning. And okay, I know you're probably saying, my Lord, son, that's just a giant sail. Well, like I said, a lot of times it rains here and the wind's not blowing. It just sits and pours on you for hours on end without any real wind. So yeah, that's why it's there. And it works also as the sunshade. Makes things a lot more pleasant when you're fishing in a hot summer day too. Well, there you go. That's the kayak in its full glory. All the doodads that I've constructed myself and bolted onto this. Keep in mind, this is a 10-foot kayak, so space is a real premium. So you do have to kind of shoehorn stuff in, and I get really frustrated when I have to struggle with anything in the kayak. So I want everything within arm's reach, and I want it all to work. So that's why I'm constantly fiddling with stuff to make it function properly. If you have any questions about anything on the kayak, please comment down below. If you want to comment down below and tell me I'm a knucklehead, that's fine too. It's all that works. It's a free-for-all. I get that. So if you see anything that you want more information on, it'd be great. If you like the video, please thumbs up. Share it, of course, if that's something that you feel compelled to do. And thanks for stopping by the channel. It's a pleasure to have you, and I'm looking forward to doing the next video. Thanks, and have a great day.